It's 4:30 on WKYT this morning. Donald Trump adds to his delegate totals, and Hillary Clinton is extending her lead for the Democratic nomination after both win big in the latest round of primaries.
The state budget battle is heating up just as this year's legislative session is coming to a close.
And the Wildcats have arrived in Iowa as they prepare for their first NCAA tournament game tomorrow.
This is WKYT This Morning.
Good morning to you and welcome. It's good to have you on WKYT This Morning. I'm Bill Bryant.
And I'm Michelle Chamberlain, and it's a beautiful day out there so far, but we may get some rain.
Yeah, pretty warm at this moment. I mean, it's a great feel out there. Sounds like we do have some showers off to the west. Let's check in with meteorologist Micah Harris.
Yeah, and they're really falling apart. We did have a severe thunderstorm warning in southern Indiana as it was trying to cross over the river. But once this crossed over the river, it has really fallen apart. Now, there is one thunderstorm out there, and that's right over Gratz and also Monterey. As you head up right there across 127 and Owenton, you'll get affected by this, but really it's going to be Monterey and just south of Owenton. But that's heading northeast. Other than that, it's really just showers trying to fall apart. Temperatures, look at these temperature readings. 72 there in Richmond early this morning. There are actually a lot of 70s outside this morning, and you can feel it. But that front about to roll on through will actually drop our temperatures as we go through the day. So we've already hit our high today, 66 by the afternoon. Just a pleasant day in store. I'm going to talk about how long we hold on to not only the pleasant temperatures, but also how long we hold on to dry conditions. That's coming up.
All right, changes are coming. We thank you very much, Micah. Well, Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump, and John Kasich scored significant Super Tuesday victories. A major loss prompted Marco Rubio to suspend his campaign.
Yeah, and here are the winners so far. On the Republican side, Trump took Florida, North Carolina, and Illinois. Kasich won his home state of Ohio. For Democrats, Clinton won Florida, North Carolina, Ohio, and Illinois. Mary Maloney has reactions from the candidates.
While it is not God's plan that I be president in 2016 or maybe ever, and while today my campaign is suspended, the fact that I've even come this far is evidence of how special America truly is.
The Florida senator ending his bid for president after a crushing loss in the Sunshine State to Donald Trump. Marco Rubio is the first sitting senator to lose a primary in his home state since 1960. Confetti flies in Ohio as the Buckeye State's governor, John Kasich, wins.
I have to thank the people of the great state of Ohio. I love you, is all I can tell you. I love you.
Trump celebrating, winning the majority of the Super Tuesday states.
We're going to make our country rich again. We're going to make our country great again. And we need the rich in order to make the great, I'm sorry to tell you.
Hillary Clinton's focus on Florida paid off with a win. She also won North Carolina, Ohio, and Illinois.
This is another Super Tuesday for our campaign.
Bernie Sanders and Ted Cruz also picking up delegates and keeping their respective campaigns viable.
We are doing something very radical in American politics. We're telling the truth.
We continued to gain delegates and continue our march to 1,237.
I'm Mary Maloney reporting.
Missouri is the last state to declare a winner for either party. It's too close to call on the Democratic side, and at last check, polls show Donald Trump neck and neck with Ted Cruz.
Here in Kentucky, with this year's legislative session now in its final month, the battle could be setting up over the state budget. Governor Bevin has called for some deep cuts in state spending, including to higher education. But yesterday afternoon, House Democrats unveiled their version, which is much different than the governor's proposal. And as WKYT's Garrett Weimer tells us, even the House Republican version doesn't give the governor everything he wants.
The budget battle could just be ramping up as the legislative session begins to wind down.
When we started down this road, it was my hope if we could accomplish a few goals with the House budget, and those goals I believe this budget will meet.
The House Appropriations and Revenue Committee approved a plan that rejected the governor's proposed cuts to colleges and universities. A bill Republicans introduced earlier in the day kept those cuts but restored others.
Every member of the House Republican caucus in some way or another had some input on this budget, whether it's coal severance, whether it's primary and secondary education, whether it's post-secondary, on and on and on.
House Democrats' plan was approved, though it garnered only one Republican vote on the Democratic-controlled committee. Many Republican members declined to vote on it. House Speaker Greg Stumbo says the budget plan that the committee approved should pass the House fairly smoothly.
You know, it looks to me like it's a pretty good document, and I said all along I thought the governor made a good effort in his attempt to start this process, which he did. We kept the biggest part of that, and I think refined it and moved on.
At the Capitol, Garrett Weimer, WKYT.
In a statement, the governor's communications director says the proposed budget, quote, continues the bad habit of spending one-time funds for recurring expenses. The House is scheduled to vote on the budget this afternoon.
The state Senate has passed a religious expression bill that opponents say discriminates against gays, lesbians, and transgender people. Now, the bill would allow some businesses to refuse to participate in same-sex marriage celebrations due to religious objections. Those businesses would be protected from civil damages or legal fees. The Senate narrowed the bill so it would only apply to businesses such as bakeries, florists, and photographers. Now, the bill passed the Republican-led Senate by a 22-16 vote. It now heads to the Democratic-controlled House.
Police have arrested a Madison County woman who they say forged dozens of prescriptions for her family. 30-year-old Ashley Young is facing forgery, theft, and trafficking charges. Police say she used to be a certified medical assistant for a doctor's office in Berea. They say Young forged nearly 50 prescriptions that were written for her father and boyfriend. Some of the drugs on the forged prescriptions included oxycodone and methadone. Police say Young also forced the medical records for her father and boyfriend, so it would seem that they were receiving the prescription drugs for legitimate reasons.
Police say rescuers are developing a plan to recover a car that fell off a bridge into the Ohio River in Kentucky yesterday. Rescue boats found the vehicle with imaging technology after an hours-long search. Witnesses say a semi-truck pushed the car off during a chain reaction crash involving 12 vehicles. Drivers called horrifying. The semi reportedly ran into several vehicles that had stopped after a fender bender. There was a major traffic backup, and an official said motorists suffered non-life-threatening injuries. Authorities have no word yet on the number of people in the car that plunged into the water.
Well, the UK basketball team is in Des Moines this morning as they prepare for the first game in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, and only WKYT has at Wildcat Coal Lodge yesterday afternoon as the team boarded a bus for Bluegrass Airport. Some UK fans were on hand to wish the Cats well. The team then flew to Iowa and arrived around 6 o'clock last night. UK plays Stony Brook tomorrow night around 9:40. You can see the game on WKYT. We'll also have live coverage from Des Moines beginning at noon today. He's a Grammy award-winning singer who had a string of hits from the 1960s through the 80s. Glen Campbell's songs are well known among country and rock music fans, but in recent years, he's been dealing with the effects of Alzheimer's disease. Last night, his wife Kim came to Lexington to help raise awareness for the disease and to share her journey with Glen. WKYT's Kristen Kennedy has the story.
Doctors diagnosed Glen Campbell with Alzheimer's back in 2011. His wife, Kim, told the crowd here in Lexington that she noticed signs of dementia much earlier.
He shadowed me everywhere we went. He became very OCD about things. We would travel and he would do shows. I would notice the words, songs that he had sung, thousands of times, and he started asking the band, what key is this in?
Kim Campbell shared candid moments with the crowd at Ashland Avenue Baptist Church.
He was experiencing fear, and he was experiencing a struggle to be there for me.
Many listened and related to her role as caregiver to her husband, Glenn. Alzheimer's disease is irreversible, destroys memory and thinking, and affects millions of Americans.
My father had Alzheimer's, and my mother is presently suffering from Alzheimer's.
Barry Hart calls the disease heartbreaking.
10 years ago, 15 years ago, we talked about dementia, but now it's Alzheimer, and it's everywhere, and it doesn't matter your socioeconomic class, your education, it doesn't make any difference. And that's what's the heartbreaker.
Campbell used humor and hope to deliver a message of love.
If you're open and honest with people about what you're going through, you give them permission to reach out and help you and love you.
In Lexington, Kristen Kennedy, WKYT.
The Morning Point Foundation sponsored last night's event. Morning Point is an assisted living, senior living and Alzheimer's memory care facility with locations across Kentucky.
Fayette County School Superintendent Manny Calk says he wants to hear from the community. At Dunbar High School last night, he held the first of 2 Talk with Calk sessions. He's already finished 5 external reviews and multiple listening sessions with teachers and staff in the Fayette County Public Schools. But last night, people in the community had the chance to give him their feedback on the schools.
As a new superintendent, I need to learn what's great about Fayette County, what are our points of pride, what are areas that we need to improve in, what's working.
The other listening session will be tomorrow night from 6 until 8 o'clock at Bryan Station High School. It's good to have you along on WKYT bright and early on your Wednesday morning, and we're just getting started. A lot more news on the way.
That's right. Coming up in today's Mom's Everyday Minute, creative and inexpensive ways to reward your children's good behavior.
We have the rain rolling on through as we speak. There's just bits and pieces of showers and a few rumbles of thunder. When that moves on out, what's back behind that? I'm going to have that in your forecast coming up next.
Now, your hour-by-hour forecast with meteorologist Micah Harris.
We have a few rumbles of thunder outside, but most of this is going to be showers rolling on through. Some heavy downpours, too, especially north of Lexington, north of I-64. But I do want to pay attention down toward the far southern half. Not forgetting about you guys. You go down toward Burkesville and Cumberland County. If you work your way across 90 and 61, kind of that interchange right there. It'll more than likely head just to the south of Jamestown and Russell County. So just keep in mind, it's going to be a heavy downpour, maybe a crack of thunder. But for the most part, we're focusing up to the north. So you go through Frankfort, about to get in on the mix. Next in line is going to be Peaks Mill. And then you look toward north of Georgetown Stamping Ground area, Sadieville, just to the north of that across 25 and also 75. Williamstown, Corinth. Yeah, it looks like you guys, for the most part, Corinth will be bypassed. You may get at least a few raindrops out of this, but this actually looks like it's going to roll straight through Williamstown here in just the next 5 to 10 minutes, and then Falmouth, you're next in line across US 27. So we're looking at the temperatures now. This is pretty wild. I'm going to step out of the way so you can see all the temperatures across the region. We were at 72 just a few minutes ago there in Richmond, out at the Madison County Airport. 70 degrees right now in Somerset, Pulaski County. 72 in Monticello. Trust me, when you step outside, it is soupy. You can feel it in the air. It's something in the air, and that front will pass on through as we go through time. So it will drop our temperatures. Once we hit the afternoon, we'll hold steady in the mid-60s for the most part. Could there be a 70-degree reading down in the far southern half? It's possible because that cooler air is not really featured down south for today. Once we hit the evening and nighttime hours, you could see dry conditions after we get past 8 a.m. I would believe that most of this rain's done by 5 to about 7 a.m. and then after that, we're good throughout the rest of the day. Going off overnight and into tomorrow morning, look at that, 42 degrees waking up tomorrow morning. So temperatures are dropping, and that's what we're going to be watching for the next several days, but still extremely nice outside. Even though we're not upper 70s, we actually hit the upper 70s to lower 80s in far southern Kentucky yesterday. I mean, it was really warm, but that cooling trend's taking shape. Even though we're going to be in the 60s today, it'll still be very nice. Once we hit the weekend, though, there's still flakes possible. Remember, we're not saying it's highly likely. It's just a possibility as the system tracks on through. It's a very interesting complex. We're going to have to watch that, keep an eye out on that very closely as we go throughout the next few days. So here's your breakdown for you. Next few days, we stay mainly dry. I really don't see a great chance of any rain. If we do, a sprinkle or two here or there. But really, it's about those temperatures dropping every day. And then you can see Sunday's probably the big talker at 41 degrees. Some will be in the upper 30s too. That's going to be a cold feel. Now, that's not extremely cold when we look at it, but because we've been in the 60s and 70s the past several days, trust me, it will be chilly this weekend.
The change will be notable, right?
Oh, no doubt about it. Yeah.
All right, Mike, thank you so much. It's 4:47 in the morning. Want to reward your kid for a job well done? I bet you're good at that.
Well, kind of. I try to. But it does get expensive. Yeah. In today's Mom's Everyday Minute, they show you how to do so without reaching into your wallet.
Catching your child doing something good is an exciting reminder that you're doing something right. An excellent way to encourage children to keep up that positive behavior is by rewarding them. And that doesn't necessarily mean doling out money or expensive gifts. Boys Town offers these creative ways to reward your kids for being good. Leave Post-it notes on their door in the mornings or place a sweet note in their backpack or lunchbox. Make time for brags at the dinner table, where you talk about the good things that they did that day. Give them time-ins, time set aside for purely having fun. Give them goodie vouchers for special time with a parent or extra time watching TV or playing games. Finally, devote 10 minutes of one-on-one time doing an activity of the child's choosing. For more ways to make mom's life easier, visit momseveryday.com.
For these tips and more, just go to WKYT.com and click on Moms Every Day.
The time this morning is 4:48. Great to have you along right here. We have a lot more news coming up on your Wednesday.
Transportation in our nation's capital could be tricky today. We'll explain why when WKYT This Morning returns.
Welcome back into WKYT This Morning. It's good to have you along with us. Our time this morning, 4:51. And today, the entire Washington, D.C. subway system is going to be shut down for inspections. Imagine that.
I know. Can you imagine? Crews will be looking at electrical components on the tracks after a fire Monday led to major delays. Now, because of the closure, federal workers will be allowed to take unscheduled leave or work from home today. And the city will ease off on street sweeping violations as well to allow for more street parking. The subway system is expected to resume service tomorrow morning.
A Louisville Planned Parenthood clinic has filed a motion against a lawsuit that the state filed against it, and hoping that the case is going to be dismissed. Governor Bevin's administration sued the clinic in January, claiming it was performing abortions without a valid license. But Planned Parenthood claims it had permission from former Governor Steve Beshear's administration. In the motion, the clinic claims Governor Bevin's actions are a political stunt. The state is also suing a women's clinic in Lexington, claiming that it has performed abortions without a license.
This Friday will be a big day for The Voice winner Jordan Smith. He'll release his first album called Something Beautiful, and I know a lot of people are excited about this. Jordan says the album was put together quickly, but it will have something for everyone, and he hopes the music will inspire people. Jordan plans to be at the Harlan Walmart on Friday to meet his fans and sign autographs.
It's great that I'm going to get to be home for the release. I'm so excited about that. When they told me that it was going to work out, I was just beside myself. I couldn't think of a better place to be to release my first album.
Jordan says the new album will have 12 songs, and a lot of people are excited about that.
Isn't it amazing? It probably will be known around the world, and yet beginning the signing parties at the Harlan Walmart.
I know, it's pretty cool.
It is neat. 4:53 on WKYT, and in just a moment, a look at some of the stories that we're working on for you this morning.
Yeah, and we'll have another look at your morning forecast coming up.
Good morning. It's 4:56 now on WKYT This Morning. It's great to have you along with us. It's a busy day already.
It is busy, and it's time to take a look at some of the stories we're working on this morning.
Coming up starting at 5 here, just a couple of minutes away, we're continuing to follow the recovery efforts after a car plunged into the Ohio River in northern Kentucky. Police say sonar equipment located the vehicle yesterday. Now crews are coming up with ways to try to retrieve that submerged vehicle.
And the state high school basketball tournament moves to Rupp Arena for the Sweet 16 today, and it'll run for the next 4 days. We look at how traffic could be impacted coming up in a brand new hour of WKYT This Morning.
There is nothing like the Sweet 16.
It is an exciting time.
A meeting of all Kentuckians.
Well, think these, 14, 15, 16-year-olds get to play in Rupp Arena.
It's great, All right, we do have a little chance of some rain here and there, but it sounds like it's going to be short-lived today. Let's check in with Micah.
Yeah, and we're seeing that fade away right now. So give it another couple of hours and it'll be long gone. And once it's long gone, we really don't see a good chance of rain anytime soon. So there's your line of broken showers. Not even a rumble of thunder anymore. That actually started to finish off as it crossed over I-65. But the heavier downpours are down toward Cumberland County and also making its way through Grant County as we speak, heading toward Falmouth and also Bracken if it stays together. Temperatures, check these out, okay? Watch this. The front moves through, and it's in the 70s there, 71 in Lexington. Now the front has moved through. Frankfort now at 64 degrees, so watch these temperatures drop. I'll have that forecast coming to you in another 2 hours of WKYT News.